Boys, how are we, lads? How are we going? So, currently in Australia, you can see I'm in the white box. It's not very inspiring, is it? But, I'm back in Australia. Christmas, New Year's, all of that, spending time with friends and family, really actually enjoying it. I spend most of the year these days in Bali, and sometimes it is a bit of an overload. So to come back to Australia, it is like a bit of a dopamine detox, but I do believe you have to be somewhat careful because if you're a guy that's saying that, hey, I'm going to live this extraordinary life, I'm going to do big things, I am going to be different, I'm not going to be like the status quo, you'd be careful. Your environment definitely can change things. Your environment, your physical environment, even your mental diet. That I will put that under environment. Your friends, obviously there's that saying of the average of the top five friends you hang around the most. All of that stuff. Now, I just think you have to be aware of it. You have to be aware of your mind. You have to have self awareness. And, like, what does self awareness actually mean? Like, it's very subtle. It's very subtle things. Like, as soon as I step down in at the airport in Melbourne, I feel my brain already changing. Like, literally. It's very small, but it's already changing. And then the longer I stay here in the standard life, it starts to make me think a certain way. And that's what I like about, that's what I like about Bali. I'll get back to that in a second. But, like, when you're in Australia, like when you're growing up at the place that you grew up at, it triggers all of the same patterns, and they come out again. So I have to be very careful. Like, I have to actually think, like, what do I actually rationally want? Where do I actually rationally want to go? Who am I? What do I actually want to become? Right? And don't allow this environment to dictate it for me. Right? So that's how I think. And now, like, it's great. Like, when you go to Bali, you got the sun. You're surrounded by a lot of go-getters. Like, just if you think about it, like any restaurant or hospitality business, a lot of the time they're foreign owned. All right, a lot of the time as well they're locally owned. Okay, but a lot of the time there's a big percentage that are foreign owned. That means, like, what does that mean, right? I believe there's an energy behind that. The energy to me is a foreigner has taken a massive leap, left everything behind, and gone on an entrepreneurial journey. And you can feel it, right? You can feel it. So if you classify yourself kind of in that, right, you can absorb that, you can feed off of that. And there's lots and lots of things that are great about Bali. Obviously, we mentioned the weather, the environment, the people, the culture, all of that. It all adds up, right? But that is a big one as well. The businesses, for me, especially as a business person, I really, really love to feed off of it. So, like, what I want to get to is, like, a lot of my videos, I just want to tell you the truth, right? I feel like that's extremely valuable. In the past, the things that I've regretted is, like, being too nice of a person, just trying to be liked by others, right? But it leads people down the wrong road. I want to be that big brother, talking to myself, my previous self, right? The younger Dylan. What would I actually want to hear? The honest truth, right? And I'm going to give it to that guy. So, I'm not out here to make friends. I'm just going to try and tell you what's on my mind. And, I might change my mind over the years. You would expect that. I believe, for myself, I want to be constantly reinventing myself every 3 to 6 months. I want to be a completely different person. So when I hear things of, like, Dylan, you've changed, right? That means you're on the, yes, that means you're on the right track, right? That's actually what I believe you should be trying to go for. Of course, man. Of course I've changed. I want to keep on going, all right? I want to keep on going. Now, coming back to Australia, I'm at the age of 31 now. I'm going to turn 32 this year. It's I feel like it's at the point, right? It's weird when you're entering into your 30s. You start to see there's two types of people, right? Two types of men out there. Like, and we're talking about one demographic here. We're talking about the guys that say they're the go-getters and all of that. They are gonna do big things in life, this and that. And at 31, a lot of these people, they're just all talk, man. I'm sorry. Like, you're still a little bit of a boy, to be honest, right? So I just want to make this video as a proper wake up call, because like, if you have it, like, when you're 20, when you're 18, you have all of these dreams and all of that, and you're like, bro, when I'm 30, what does everyone say? I'm going to be a millionaire by I'm 30 and this and that, right? If you're not there where you thought you want to be, you actually have to reevaluate. Maybe I'm not actually making the right decisions in my life. Maybe I actually need to mix it up. Maybe your goal as well was like just completely absurd. Like maybe it was like, hey, by age 30, I had 50 mil or whatever, right? So that doesn't make sense, right? So like you got to create realistic goals. But like it's New Year and all of that. I would be really thinking like, what are some actual realistic goals? Write them down. Don't make them too big. Don't make them too small. You make them too big, you're gonna fail. You're gonna lose your confidence. Make it too small, right? It's not gonna inspire you to do anything. You heard this advice before. But write it down. Write down the realistic goal, then write under it, hey, whatever your name is, believe this is a realistic goal, and it is easy, somewhat easy. It's a good thing for me to achieve. I believe I will achieve it, right? And then sign off on that. Then put it in the calendar, right? I have like a monthly planner, and it's got every month, and I like to turn it over. It's a physical thing. Write it down, like, hey, in 6 months, I'm going to achieve this. And if I achieve this, I'm going to be kind of like, I've reinvented myself. I've upgraded myself. I'm a new person if I achieve this goal, right? Put it in there. And then wait. See if you have the ability, yes or no, to actually make that a reality, right? Because a lot of the time, and I've been there before myself, we achieve it in our heads somehow, but we never actually do it in reality. It's so easy to do it up here. It's so easy for our ego to convince ourselves, oh wow, I'm going to set this goal and I'm going to do this. Just by saying that, really be self-aware. Do you get like a bit of energy? If you get a bit of energy, maybe you're actually getting a dopamine hit, and your brain is tricking you that you've already achieved the thing. You're only supposed to get the dopamine hit after you achieve the goal, not when you make the goal, right? Be careful. If you really focus on yourself, be aware of the subtle differences in your mind. If you feel like, ooh, energy's up a little bit, right? It's like New Year. When everyone sets their New Year's resolutions, right, you feel the energy's up a little bit, right? After 1 month, everybody's energy is back down to baseline, right? It means everybody got a little dopamine hit. They trick themselves that they've already achieved the goal. Bro, writing a goal down doesn't mean anything. There's no value to that. There's only value to sticking to a plan, creating habits, and then actually achieving the thing, Reward yourself after you actually achieve the thing. So I think this relates heavily to, like, if someone comes to me with a goal, the first question I like to ask them is, all right, so what are you actually sacrificing? What are you sacrificing to make this goal a reality? Because you're probably going to have to give up something to allow for something new to happen. You have to give up on something, right? Now you got to sacrifice something, because I see too often, people have 20, 30 goals that they want to achieve all at the same time. If you got 20 or 30 goals, man, that means what are you actually doing? You're sacrificing 20 or 30 things. You're sacrificing those 20 or 30 goals, and you're achieving nothing. It's better to have one goal. If you're new to this stuff, like, be honest with yourself. Have you actually been the guy that's created a goal, made a plan, stuck with it, and actually achieved it, right? If you're that guy, right? If you're not that guy, just have one goal, man. Get a win on the board. Have one goal and sacrifice other areas of life and achieve it, man. Or put those other ones on maintenance, right? You can't be the guy that's like, oh, I've got 20 new goals to achieve. You're going to achieve none of them, right? If you're a high level guy, maybe you got 2 or 3 goals, max. Here's where the self-awareness comes in. Don't call yourself a high level guy if you're not. You know deep down if you're a high level guy or not, right? So for myself, I like to have just like 2 goals. A business goal and a health goal. That's it. Previously, to the age of 30, I only had one goal, business goals. That's how I blew up. That's how I got really bloody fat, right? I blew up. I went from, I think, 60 kilos when I was like 19 to 100. To 100 kilos, man. But guess what? I hit a lot of business goals along the way. Now I'm quite content with my business goals. I introduced a new goal. I actually took away all the business goals. It was only health, right? Then I hit some health goals now, right? And I'm decently happy with that, where I'm at now with my health all of a sudden, right? Over the last 6 months or so. As a side note, I made a promise to myself. Yeah, I'm going to dedicate my 20s to business, to money, to investing, all of that stuff, to financial success. Then in 30, I'm going to quickly get everything and clean it all up again, right, in terms of my health. And I did a bit late. I thought I'd be able to do it in the year of 30. I'm getting closer to that 32, so I was a bit late. But overall, I'm decently content with where I'm at. So now I'm in pretty good world in both of these things. So now I'm like, all right, I'm going to have two medium goals. I'm going to bring my business goals back, and I'm going to keep some health goals and just progress a little bit with both of them. That's it. All right. It's quite simple. I'm not chucking out. I'm not creating 20, 30 goals all at the same time. It's just not realistic, man. Just not realistic at all. So yeah, like, what are you actually sacrificing to get to where you want to go? You can't maintain everything, right? There's only a certain amount of time in the day, right? We don't have that limited amount of time. So it's very important to think about time itself, and then to think about the order in which we structure these goals, these times. Doesn't make sense, right? As a crazy example, imagine you have a goal that sometime in my life I would like to become a black belt martial artist. You probably wouldn't put that right at the end of your life in your 80s or 90s or 100s, right? You probably wouldn't want to put it all the way out there, right? It doesn't really make much sense. You probably want to do it in your younger years when you're fit and healthy, because of being fit and healthy is a requirement for that to happen, okay? Obviously, that's an extreme, but sometimes delaying some things 1 or 2 years, when you zoom out on the big time frame, it's like you didn't even delay them in the first place, all right? So for me, that's why, like, when I really wanted to try my best, I really wanted to sacrifice everything except for the finances. With the finances, I can buy back my time, and then, right? And then with the time, I can gain everything else in life, man. Right? But the thing is, I'm like, if that's the strategy, I bloody better make this work. Because if I sacrifice everything in life and then don't get the money, and don't get the time, I'm screwed. I got my back up against the wall now. It's going to be a really rough place. So the beauty of this, though, is, like, I'm a big proponent of that. Everybody's different. Everybody has different goals. You got to weigh them up yourself. I'm a bit of a crazy person. I understand that, right? I understand that. You got to understand yourself. The beauty of this, though, is with the age of the internet, we got YouTube, we got books, we got everything, right? If you really dedicate yourself, you can make $500,000 in 5 years. You can make $1 million in 10 years. I kind of believe that's kind of like the average. If you really put your mind to it, from zero, you can get to $1 million in 10 years. And the importance of that is, if you have $1 million and it's invested at just a 10% return, you're making $100,000. And if it's in long-term investments, there's no tax on that 100,000, so it's different. So, like, in Australia, that's like, you could be wasting your time at a job, earning 150K, and then your net is not even 100, okay? With assets, you don't even have to work at all. Your money could be in the S&P 500. You make 100, you keep 100. Get where I'm coming from? So, I think it's sometimes the most important thing to do is to sit, pause, and reflect. Literally do nothing. Hey, I'm not actually moving my legs. Hey, I'm not actually moving my hands. Hey, I'm actually not physically moving anywhere. I'm actually going to strategize. I'm going to be honest with myself. Who am I? What are my mistakes? And how I'm going to change my life and actually make all of this stuff a reality, right? Be aware of how your mind works. Be aware of all the nuances, okay? So yeah, That's a video for you. Hopefully you found it valuable. I'm sorry if I come off as, you know, a bit aggressive. Honestly, it comes from a place of love, because I believe to a lot of people, this is how you need, like, this is how I speak to myself in my head. I don't know if it's healthy or not, right? You don't have to watch the videos. You don't have to watch them in the future. This is how I speak to myself. So I'm giving it to you exactly the same as I would give it to myself. I'm pretty rough on myself, I got to admit. But at the same time, I really do love myself. And as I achieve these goals, I gain more and more of a self-love. So you got to understand that this does come from a place of love. I do it because this is the best way I believe I can, with my current skills, communicate the message to you. I hope you understand that, right? Thank you very much, guys. Hopefully you learned something. I'll see you in the next video.